Hello, I'm the Anime Viewer 66, and today I'm going to be doing a bit of a special first impressions review. Now, I don't usually do first impression reviews, but I decided to go ahead and put this one out because I can't really get through this anime. That's not to say it's bad, but this anime is very, particularly for certain tastes which are not exactly mine, if that makes any sense. I was recommended to watch this anime by one of my subscribers, Yuki Cross. The first thing that really drawed me to this anime when I first started watching it was the fact of, well, the story itself. It sounded very interesting. Basically, a writer who was writing a story died before he could finish it. So what did he do? His ghost starts haunting the book, or haunting the story. And so we meet our first character, our main character, Duck. Yes, you heard me right. The main character's name is Duck. Why? Well, how should I put this? She's a duck who became a human, who has the magical powers to turn into a ballet dancer that can, do a ballet really good. Like I said, weird story, but just go with it. So, the basic point of this entire story is her going around and finding these little pieces of heart to give to her prince, because her prince has lost all of his sort of emotion. So, for the most part, her prince is a lifeless doll. I mean, he can still move around and talk, but he does pretty much what anyone tells him to do. And so she has to go around and collect these little hearts and give it to him to reclaim his heart. If this is sounding like other anime, that's because it is. Now, you may be asking yourself, with this pretty much classic story of basically a quest story, trying to find items to give to the main character, or one of the main characters, so that you can get further into the story, the whole 9 yards of that. This is very much the magical girl show. Except instead of fighting giant monsters or such and such, we have our main character finding these shards through the power of dance. Yeah, there's a good reason they called it Princess Tutu. The actual power she has is to dance. I kid you not. Now, this actually all sounded fairly interesting to me when I first saw it. The fact that you have the main character, Duck, and then you have the storyteller, Drosselmeyer, all of it made this very weird, atmospheric kind of thing, because the art style they choose to use in this is very light and sort of childish, if you might say. Not to say that's bad or anything, I'm just saying it sort of seems like a children's story in a way. I did like how it was set up, is what I'm getting at, but what got to me was this show can seem a bit repetitive. And besides from that, it lacks in, how should I put this, to me personally, that much of an interesting character. Duck herself is actually a fairly decent character. She's that comic relief, not comic relief, she's that common character that, you kind of can make fun of when she's in her, normal human form. And then you kind of have to give respect when she's in her transformation kind of thing, because she's the best dancer in the world. If I have to compare her to any character, she's probably a lot like any main character from most, any, magical girl genre show. Because, you have Sailor Moon, for example, or any sort of really magical girl show, or a lot of non-magical girl show as well. Basically, your ditzy character who means well, but sometimes her meaning well doesn't always translate to being done well, if that makes any sense at all. But my point is, this show is very, very well, I suppose you can say, written. I do like the fact that they have the basic story down, they give you that story, they show you the facts about the show, and even some character depth. Especially I like Drosselmeyer, the main storyteller. Well, not the main character, but he's the storyteller that died. He's actually a pretty cool character. To see him go in and out of the story at will and sort of manipulate things and talk about all these things that are happening. To hear him talk, you would actually see why he would be this grand storyteller. I actually wish that would have been more the main focus than our main character. And maybe that's just me wanting to see more controlling environment kind of anime, but whatever. My point being, this anime is good, but I really can't get through it. I really can't get through it because of one particular reason. Overall, is just repetitive. Now, as I said, her main goal is to go and find these little heart things for her prince to give him back his heart. Because, yeah, I'm not getting into why and all that. Just trust me, it makes sense. Sort of. Anyway. It can get repetitive, especially when you have no, well, like take something other Magical Girl anime. I'm not sure if anyone had ever seen this Magical Girl show, but it's a show called Witch. Witch was basically a show that premiered on Disney XD. I'm not really even sure if it was an anime or not. But basically the thing of that was these girls have to go around defeating these monsters and close the portals to the other dimension. Similar to the Princess Tutu in the way that they have to go to place to... In the Princess Tutu case, it was to find something, and the witch show case, it was to close a portal. So you're still going to one location to another to try to get something or do something. So yeah. To be honest, since I said this is my first impression, I don't really know all that much about it, not as much as someone who's watched the show entirely through, but I will say that it's similar to the Witch show in the fact of that, but it's not quite as interesting, because in those you actually had sort of good power battles. But in this one, it's just dancing. And it's beautiful. It's something that can be artistic, but after a while it can get boring. I'm sorry. The one thing I will say, they don't have too much of the repetitive transformation scene, but the transformation is still, there, obviously. But overall, I won't be giving this anime a rating because, like I said, I won't rate an anime that I haven't finished, so it wouldn't be exactly right of me to rate it until I've saw the very end of it. But from what I can tell and what I've seen so far, it is a good anime, and to the people that watch a lot of Magical Girl anime, this might be your cup of tea. I've watched a few Magical Girl anime, but to my own personal opinion, once you've watched Madoka Magica, there's no going back to regular Magical Girl anime. Alright, I'm the Anime Viewer 66. Thank you and good night.